Hello, everybody out there in listener land. My name is Oliver G. This is the Earful Tower podcast, and today it's me telling you what I consider to be a fantastic story of something that's been happening over the past couple of days in Paris. But to appreciate the story, you need a bit of background information. Now, if you've been listening to all the recent episodes, you don't need this at all. But if you're new around here, or if you sort of only been half watching social media and half listening to the episodes, this is for you. About a month, 6 weeks ago, I did an episode about antiques, which I've not really covered before in great depth. How to buy antiques, find French antiques. It was with Hugh and Susanna from Chez Pluie, and as it kind of often happens with this podcast, when I sort of delve into one subject, I become interested in it, and then I find myself, going down offshoots of that conversation in future episodes. And it maybe was due to that I discovered that cane shop, the antique walking stick shop in Rue de Beaune in the 7th arrondissement. And so an episode soon after the antiques was with Chloe from the cane shop. And funnily enough, this hasn't been on the podcast yet, but soon after that, I got an email from Christophe Lucien, the head auctioneer of the Drouot, the Paris Mon Amour, the antique French curiosities, who I featured on the show a couple years ago. And he wanted to interview me in French about my love for Paris. And so I was talking about antiques with him as well. And that's all sort of going on in the background, right? And then all the while, that cane story got this huge gust of energy in it, because I started to make some short videos about the gadget canes. So this is important. In the cane shop, there's two sorts of canes. There's the ornamental variety, the decorative ones where you have a sort of carved head on the top of the walking stick, and then there's a gadget ones, which is where there's a revolver or a sword, or there's the Toulouse-Lautrec one with a little glass flask for absinthe or whatever hidden inside. And I made these videos, I tried to make them really entertaining short videos about canes. Now, if you've really been listening to the show for a while, it was ages ago that I decided I'd get a TikTok account. It was when I had Monica on talking about men's fashion, I think it was. He was talking about fashion in any case. And I started TikTok, didn't really think much about it. Every now and again I put a video up. But when I put the cane video on TikTok, all hell broke loose, really. It just went sort of immediately viral. And when I went to bed on the first night, and it had like 200,000 hits. And I was like, wow, that is crazy, given I have 160 followers. By the time I woke up in the morning, there was 10,000 followers and over 1 million hits. I'm going to look at it as we speak right now. So about a week on, my channel at the Earful Tower on TikTok, it's gone from 160 followers to 62,500 followers. The main cane video has 6.7 million hits. Another of the cane videos has 1.2 million hits. And so I'm thinking about canes, thinking about antiques, and I'm realizing there's an appetite for it out there on the internet. Now that is the backstory to set you up for this next incredible series of events. Get comfortable, enjoy the ride. This is Oliver G from the Earful Tower with some intro music from Press Maxim. Thank you for the music, Press Maxim. I should also add this episode brought to you by the Patreon supporters, patreon.com/the-earful-tower. Lots of bonuses and Paris guides and so on if you sign up. And before we get to the story, if you're not a TikTok user, don't fear that I'm going to switch over there. I'm going to keep doing all the other stuff. as I always do. I got a few comments about that. But if you do use TikTok, check it out. Now, on with the story. The other day in Paris, there was a woman from Belfast walking down in the 7th arrondissement. And as I'm saying this, I'm thinking, surely it's better if you hear it from her with a real Belfast accent, right? So let's bring on the voice of Emma O'Hara.
So I was recently on a trip to Paris and I was walking around the beautiful 7th arrondissement down Avenue de Suffren in the shadow of the Eiffel Tower. And I was actually listening to the Earfuls episode on the 7th to get some inspiration on what to see and do when something caught my eye. So there was a big black bin on the pavement, and poking out the top of the bin were a bunch of canes. It actually made me do a double take. So I walked back to investigate because some of them looked really ornate, and I had listened to the episode about the lady and her fabulous cane shop. So I snapped a picture and sent it to Oliver because I thought he might be interested, and here we are.
Firstly, can you imagine? I happened to look in my messages on Instagram, and there's this picture just pops up of these walking sticks, and it's a picture. I mean, looks like 6 or 7 of these canes wrapped up in bubble wrap and masking tape and plastic, sticking out of this bin with all these cars parked around it. And the message said, "It made me think of you. So fascinating." And I just responded, "What?" I happened to see it really soon. I said, let me know where it is exactly. So Emma responds with a map. I headed down to the Avenue de Suffren, and I was just looking for the bin with the canes. I was racing against the garbage collectors, hoping that they'd still be there, knowing that there's any possibility, especially the fact that they'd been wrapped up all nicely to be thrown away. So I raced down there, and anyone who's been following on social media will see that the scooter is on its last legs as well. It really is. I found it the other day. It looked like it's been hit by a garbage truck, actually. So I feel like I shouldn't really be riding it anymore. In fact, I think I'm going to retire it very soon, but this was kind of the last hurrah. And I chugged down the street as quickly as I could, saw the bin, parked really quickly. I was getting really excited that there could be some kind of hidden gadget in one of these canes. Parked the scooter, jumped off so quick, crossed the road so quick did I jump off that I left the keys in the ignition. And luckily no one took it. I don't think they would anyway. But I ran across the road. There were people around, and I was like, I want to go through the bin a bit, but in the 7th arrondissement, I don't know. It wouldn't have been the best time to get, bumped into by one of the neighbors, one of the respectable neighbors in the 7th arrondissement. So I found the exact bin, the exact cane sticking out the top, and I was like, the first one that I saw was this kind of like very ornate greyhound head sticking out, and I was like, there's got to be something in there. There's got to be something in one of these. So I grabbed them. I'm not going to deny I wasn't too proud to look in the rest of the bin to see if there are any more canes or any more treasures. There was nothing. I'll tell the truth. I looked in a few more bins and there was nothing there. And then I came back to the scooter across the road, and I was like, how do you carry these canes that are made out of wood and metal, and 6 of them in a bundle? There's no way you can carry it on a scooter. You can't carry it between your knees, because it's just too dangerous to drive that. There was nowhere to tuck them away. They were too heavy. So what I did is I put it long ways on the seat and just sat on top of them. So I sat directly on top of this pile of canes, and I was like, if the police pull me over today, of all days, I never in the 5 years of having that scooter, 6 years, never been pulled over by the police, and they see that the scooter looks in pretty bad shape and that I'm sitting on 6 walking sticks, they're going to be asking questions that I don't have the ability in French to answer. So I got home. I got home to the surprise of Lena, who couldn't believe how quickly I moved to get these canes. And I walked in the door, triumphantly, holding 6 old walking sticks. And I said, look at this, Lena.
Man possessed.
Hey Lena, thanks for joining me for this bit.
Well, someone needs to tell the truth.
So I walked in. What were you thinking when I came in with these triumphant?
Well, normally when you come in, you unlock the door and you come in and you're like, hello family, or like, I'm home, Flintstone kind of moment. But you came in quiet.
Did I?
Yeah, you came in quiet and you just like triumphantly placed these wrapped up canes on the table.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
And you just like, behold.
Yeah.
You're so proud.
And I think Otis was about to go to sleep or something. So there was this window. I really should have waited, but I couldn't wait. And then I started. So first I cut the package open, and one by one I examined these canes. You were filming me a bit. I think you were laughing because I was getting so.
I mean, no, what?
But what I sort of like immediately I thought some of them looked kind of rubbish, and immediately I had impressions that there were some cool ones.
Yeah, I mean, there was everything from what my great grandma Helga would have used, like the classic hospital metal cane, to
shout out Helga.
Yeah, Helga.
Did she have a cane?
She did actually. Yeah.
I never met Helga, but I bet she had a sword in her cane.
She didn't need one. Anyways,
there was one with a bronze horse head
that
I haven't mentioned yet, but that one I was particularly taken by. But maybe I'll just tell how I remember this, and you pause me if I'm making myself look too cool. So I started with the rubbishy ones, put them to the sides, but each of them had these intricate kind of like all of them had something. So one, for example, was like carved in a very like with the shape of a flower and the name of a place in it, and there was another that had a sort of metal ring around the inside, and the horse's head looked like it would unscrew. I left that for last. And then there was another one that had a sort of bulbous
the whole where you hold it at the end of it, I guess.
The dog one, unfortunately, the head had broken in half already. So, like, we already had losses in the beginning. And I was just thinking which one has the sword in it. That's what I was thinking.
I'm just laughing. It's just so excited.
I know, I'm getting excited just thinking about it. I was also thinking...
like hands flying in the air kind of excitement.
Well, I was thinking I should have started videoing to make... Because now that I'm a TikToker...
Oh, yes,
I was thinking I should have been making TikTok videos from the beginning, but I put that to the side. And I just focused. And there was one that really had me captivated because it had a sort of silver metal ring around it, but it felt loose.
Yeah, I kept like rattling a little bit. Yeah.
And I kept pulling it and trying to twist it, because if you guys haven't seen the video from the Gadget Canes last week, they're the ones that you just press a hidden button or twist it in a certain way and some kind of weapon pops out. You know the video that I made that had what's called the pepper gun pistol or whatever, the pepper, like the pistol in it, the revolver.
Yeah.
Apparently, Chloe, who's going to feature in a second, said she got countless emails from viewers and listeners who wanted to buy that.
No.
But guess what? It's expensive, baby.
Yeah, I can
15,000 euros.
Ooh, okay. A few Patreons worthy.
I'll tell everybody now, this story does not end in me finding a 15,000 euro pistol.
No,
but
not quite.
There's some good twists and turns. Speaking of, this horse's head, I was fascinated by this one. And when I managed to screw the horse's head off, this long black cane, I looked inside and there was a little, a cork, like a wine bottle cork, but about a quarter of the size.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, maybe this is one of the glass bottle ones, the Toulouse-Lautrec ones that I'd seen with a test tube of absinthe inside. But yet, when I looked in the shaft of the cane, it was just stuck with this old rubber. It was sealed up. There was nothing there. So I put that to the side. Actually, I put it under the sofa and forgot about that one. And then I just sort of looked at the other canes, trying to figure out what was what. And even though they all had sort of cute little bits and pieces, for some reason I kept coming back to the horse one, right? And then you're like, we got to put Otis to bed. And I was like, no, there's something to the...
You're like, the world stops until I figure this out.
Many people would compare me to Indiana Jones, I'm sure.
Yeah. Sure.
Or a cooler Tom Hanks in Da Vinci Code.
Oh,
Yes.
Yeah.
So I get out the black cane with the horse's head on the top. This was like a movie, this bit, and this is true. This
was cool.
This is how I remember it.
In my mind, it was like, background music started. It was like building.
Yes. Like this last scene of Da Vinci Code. Hans Zimmer, that kind of building music.
Exactly.
And I say...
Just spontaneously started in the background somewhere.
Much like in The Godfather, I have the horse's head there between my legs somewhere. And I'm holding the rest of the cane, which separates into 3 separate bits, and I'm holding a piece of it. And you said, Oliver, we gotta put Otis to bed. And I lifted the cane and said, just wait a minute. Like,
shook it.
Shaking it like on the verge of a breakthrough.
Yeah, like a madman.
And much like Shawshank Redemption.
Wow, a lot of big references
with
here.
the Rita Hayworth poster, that moment without giving anything away.
Of course.
I'm holding this cane in my hand. We weren't yelling at each other, but I sort of shook it, having my eureka moment, and it made a noise. It made a sort of
oh, people, this is slightly embellished.
This is true.
Okay, it's true.
It made the noise.
But you gilded this story a little bit. Just a bit. You gilded it.
Well, it made a noise that it hadn't made for 5,000 sunsets.
Sure.
Yeah.
There you go. Gilded.
And I said, by God, there's something in this cane. And
okay, this much is true.
Yeah, and I said, there's something in there. Shook it. I could hear there was something in there. So I tried with all my might to get this little plasticky, rubbery bit out of the top. I just couldn't get it up. I knew there was something under it in this hollow cane. And eventually I got some scissors and some tweezers and some other kitchen utensils because we don't have... Plus?
A headlamp.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not even kidding.
The same headlamp that I bought to go into the catacombs with the Comte Saint-Germain. I was going to get out my thigh-high rubber boots just for the full thing. So
one can never be too prepared.
Wouldn't that have been amazing? But I always looking for an excuse to wear that headlamp because I bought it.
He keeps it in his bedside table.
I do.
Yeah, he does.
It's good for finding mosquitoes.
For mosquito hunts, nightly mosquito hunts. And now the dirty little
secret. Back to the point.
Okay.
Back to the point.
All right.
I surgically removed this old rubber bit, pulled it out, used the headlamp, look in. What do I see in there?
What headlamp?
So I could see through the whole. It was dark.
Yeah.
That's why.
Yeah. Okay. You look cool.
It's full. The interior, full of glass, broken. Unfortunately, probably because I was shaking it so hard.
Yeah.
It was a Toulouse-Lautrec. What do you call those things? Test tube, like a glass test tube. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I could tell because there were enough big bits of the glass and the bottom was sort of curved.
Yeah, you could see the shape of it.
And we had the cork as well.
It's one of these long, thin, test tubes.
Yeah, the size of...
that fits inside a slim cane.
Yeah, the end of your thumb to the end of your pinky finger, about that size, depending on your hand size. So I was like, oh my gosh, I'm pulling it out, shaking it into a thing. There's a spring at the bottom so that this test tube could...
pop up or
I'm
something?
thinking at this point, Emma O'Hara, you fool. you've given
You're
me...
seeing gilded dollar sign.
Everything's gilded with you in this story.
Everything gilded with this story, I'm just saying.
So I'm on this high of antique, talking to all these antique people, the Chez Pluie, Chloe, Christophe from...
It's all come down to
and
this.
And the TikTok's going viral in the background. Like, this
crazy.
is meant to be.
Yes.
So I did what any good father and husband would do, and I helped put the baby to bed, forgetting about the golden treasure under the sofa. Thank you to my wife, Lena, also known as Parisian Postcards on social media if you want to follow her. I think she's on TikTok. I don't know if she's really on TikTok. Are you on TikTok? I can see her in the background. Parisian Postcards. So then what you have to remember is we're right about to move house, which we've since done. We were in the 7th arrondissement, the kind of place where you find canes in the local rubbish bin, antique canes perhaps. And then we moved to the arrondissement. And if you're surprised that we're beeping out the number, that's because we haven't revealed it yet and we want to get used to the neighborhood first. Feel free to have a guess. I'll be posting it on social media this coming week. So we moved house, which was a whole story in itself, and I made sure that the canes were within reach because Chloe from the Galerie Janssen, who I featured in the show a couple of weeks ago, I knew I had to get to her quickly to get an expert opinion on these canes. So that is exactly what I did. I wrapped them up again and I went to Rue de Beaune, number 18, and I knocked on a very familiar door. Chloe.
Hi, Oliver.
How are you?
Fine, and you?
I'm pretty good. Your shop has become a bit famous.
It seems so.
It's millions and millions and millions of people have seen your canes. Does that surprise you?
Yes, a lot, because I was not expecting so many views on your videos.
And you've even met some of the Eiffel Tower listeners, I think.
Yes, I did. Actually, I met an Australian woman and a man from Canada and maybe other, but they didn't tell me that they had listened to the show.
Do you want them to tell you when they come in? It doesn't make any difference, really. Should they tell you?
Because I'm curious, so I would like to know if they had listened to anything or seen the videos before coming.
Cool. Okay, now everybody knows that. Now, you know a little bit about the story that I'm going to tell you, but I'm going to give you some extra details, and then we'll talk a little bit about these canes by my feet. But first, so you know that they were found in a bin, right? A poubelle.
Yes.
Does that idea make you really excited?
Yeah, it's sometimes you can find very interesting thing in a bin.
If you had have got the same text that I got from someone saying there's 6 canes in a bin.
Of course, I have run for it.
Does that ever happen? Have you found in a bin?
Yes, when I was young, I had found many things on bin because in France every month you have a special day and whatever you want to throw, like furniture and old thing, you just throw that on that day.
Okay, so you've like me, you've been going through the bins trying to find the treasure.
Yeah.
The question will be if I have any treasures here. Now you've seen a quick glimpse of them through the table here. Do you have high expectations or low expectations?
I'm curious. I would like to see what you have found.
Okay, so let's go through them, and you tell me everything you can: old, new, valuable, unvaluable, invaluable. Straight to the Louvre Museum. Okay, that's what you. Okay, ready?
Ready.
Okay, I'll set the microphone near you. I'll start with the ones that I'm the least impressed by. Okay, and then we go from there. I'm passing over. So this one, oh, she's putting her glasses on. This is serious.
Yeah, sure. I need to see everything. So it's a wooden crutch walking stick. So there is no gadget on it.
I felt like there maybe was a gadget because it makes a little noise.
Did you open it?
I couldn't.
No, there is nothing inside.
Yeah.
It's moving, but there is nothing.
I was quite excited because I felt there was something, and I thought there was maybe a sword inside.
Yeah, it can be because swords are very well dissimulated on walking sticks, so you really had to look on the ring and to see if there is a push button or if there is a quarter turn system. But on this one, there is nothing.
And what wood is it?
It's not, I would say, not good quality for wood. It's current wood, and it was painted. For me, it's a very modern one.
What does that mean, like 10 years, 20 years?
Yeah, 10 years,
Okay.
20 years at least. This one is a very good one if you need to walk on the street.
Okay. And what's it worth? How much money is it worth?
Oh, I would say 10 to 20 euro.
20 euros. We'll take 20. Okay, that's a good start. So that's the least interesting one. This one.
This one is a souvenir.
What do you mean?
So this one is a walking stick. So it's written that it was artisanal fabrication in France, and you have the name of the maker or the distributor, I don't know. It's written Megève, which is a famous place for skiing. So this walking stick is typically a souvenir that you can find in Alps.
Do you think because on the bottom of it there's a spike?
Yeah.
My first thought was it was a weapon, but maybe that was to walk through the snow.
It's for walking on the mountain.
Wow.
When there is no sidewalk,
Yep.
and you need this kind of ferrule with this stick at the end,
Right.
not to damage the walking stick.
And what sort of wood is it?
In French, I would say hêtre ou châtaignier.
Okay. Is that chestnut?
Chestnut.
Okay. And the value of this cane?
10 euro.
We're adding up quickly. That makes 30 so far. Next one. This one is damaged.
Yeah.
There's the head. Is it a dog? It fell off when I picked it up.
Oh, that's too bad. So it's greyhound head. So it's probably celluloid, which is the first plastic. So this one is is late 19th century old. It was an antique one.
And it's broken.
Yeah, it's broken.
It might have been me that broke it.
There is no way to repair it, unfortunately, because the ears are missing.
So he probably had ears that stuck up in the air and they've been ripped off.
No, they were. You see the design here.
Oh, I
They are
see,
on
I
the back.
see. Yeah, okay. Well, this one is old then.
Yeah, and the shaft is a Malacca shaft, which is the most used wood for walking stick. For the 18th and 17th century stick, you have this wood, Malacca.
Malacca. Okay.
So actually, you can just remove the knob and just keep the shaft.
Yep.
And sometime maybe you will find a new knob and you will be able to match them.
Aha, good idea. So what's this one, the value?
5 euro.
5? What? That's the oldest one and it's worth the least.
Other
Okay.
thing, you can maybe remove the eyes,
Yeah.
because the eyes of the greyhound, they are made in glass and they are very difficult to find. So you have the two here, so you can remove them.
Okay.
And you can even sell them in eBay.
For how much?
Oh, you can sell
50.
them for 10.
Oh, hang on, so this is suddenly getting to be the most valuable one if I take all the bits. If only I had the ears. Okay. Another wooden one.
Yeah. So so it's a crutch walking stick. So the wood is chestnut wood. It was burned for decoration. And the end of the crutch is made with horn.
Uh-huh. Which animal?
Horn.
Yeah.
Buffalo horn.
Okay, wow.
So you have a varnish here.
So it's so for the people who are at home who obviously can't see it, it's about the size of about the size of, what is it the size of? A thumb. The biggest thumb you've ever seen, basically. 2 thumbs put together, and it's been varnished, but it's kind of disappeared.
Yeah. So it's better to remove the varnish because you see it's very bad one. So you have to clean it. And this one is 1930, 1940s.
You know what my next question is?
The value? I would say 30.
Whoa, okay, now we're really getting somewhere. Okay, another one. I love that for you.
This is my favorite one.
Okay, good. I purposely made it so they're getting better. Why do you like this one so much?
Because this one is Art Deco style. So the wood is a very good wood. It's ebony of Makassar. So it's a crutch walking stick. So it's a very good one if you need to use it. The ring should be in silver, but it seems that it's metal. And there is varnish on it.
Oh, wow.
Which is very strange.
She's got the telescopic lens out, or the microscopic lens out. This is the first real reaction we've had, everyone. But I sense she's skeptical.
So, in fact, it's silver. The ring is made in silver, but they put varnish on it. So it seems yellow, like the color of metal. But in fact, you have the mark of silver. So you have it's sanglier in French for
the wild boar?
Yeah, it's a wild boar mark for silver. And you have also a square mark, which is for the silversmith.
Is that what you were looking for with the microscope? Can I see as well? Which bit were you looking at?
These.
Oh, those little holes.
Yeah. So for this one, you really have to clean the varnish here in order to get the silver up, and you will improve the quality of the walking stick by doing that. But it's difficult because you have not to damage the wood.
Okay. And what's the value of this one?
This one, it's more, I would say, 150.
Whoa! This is quite a find. And what wood was it again?
It's ebony of Makassar.
What's Makassar?
It's you have different kind of ebony. You have ebony from Congo and also ebony from Makassar and also from different country.
That's a good one then. That's your favorite. And then this one, I think... You're laughing at this one. Why are you laughing at this one?
Because this one is totally new. It was not made in Europe for sure. It was this stick. You can find several like that with dog head or horse head. This one is a horse head in brass, and when you unscrew it, there is something inside. Okay, so here we go. So you can unscrew the shaft in three parts. Is for commodities for traveling, for example. Mm-hmm. It takes less place in your luggage, and
well,
there is something inside.
There was something inside that I took out.
Ow.
Can you guess what it was?
Alcohol bottle.
Exactly. There was in the horse's head there was a cork, like a little tiny cork. And then on the top of this bit, there was a rubber, and I removed it. It was stuck, and then there was glass, like a Toulouse-Lautrec one, but it was broken into 50 pieces.
Wow, that's too bad.
Why is that too bad? But if it's new and modern,
it's better if you have the bottle in perfect condition because you can fill it with alcohol.
Yeah, because it's useful, right? Well, so I imagine this one isn't worth anything.
Yes, this one you can give it to someone who need a walking stick. It will be a very good gift.
20 euros?
I would say 10.
10, okay. It's weird because also, like, this was probably my favorite because I was so excited to open it because I thought there must have been something in, and I didn't know there was anything in there because it was broken and stuck. So it wasn't until I shook it that I realized something. I wondered what was in there. I thought it could be a pistol or something, or who knows. But just broken glass.
Or maybe if you want to add value to the cane, you can try to find a little alcohol bottle to put it inside.
Well, it's not about the value this time. It's about having fun, discovering. If we add up all the totals, that must be 220 euros or something like that. Do you think I have to give some to Emma, who discovered them and sent me the picture?
I don't know. You have to decide by your own.
What's the cane policy? Walking stick community policy?
I don't know. If if maybe you sell them and you can give her a reward after that, but you have to sell them first.
I might keep them. I especially like this that silver.
Yeah, this one is a very good one.
Yeah, okay. Well, they're all my questions. Thank you so much for your valuations and for spending time with me again. And I'll let you know if I find any more treasures in the rubbish bins of Paris.
Yes, you have a lot of work.
That's true. There's a lot of bins. I better get started now. Okay, thank you, Chloe. Bye-bye.
Bye.
So, it's not going to buy me a house in Paris, is it? But the story behind it was really cool, and 150 euros is nothing to sneeze at or sniff at, indeed. And what was really fun, like sometimes I pinch myself that this is my job in Paris, is taking canes into an expert and hearing and watching her explain, and you know, we both sort of got excited about it, because when she got the monocle out and looked at it really closely and saw that sanglier, this wild boar on it, she started explaining to me afterwards what it all meant. And that wild boar means for sure that the silver and the cane were done in France. And there's all these hallmarks. We talked about it for ages afterwards, but like if it had been made elsewhere and then brought to France, they'd put an extra hallmark on it. And when I say hallmark, I'm talking about imperceptible little shapes that they put in the silver. And so this wild boar, like when you look at it in that microscope, it doesn't look like a boar, but it's the sort of outline of its head. And then there was another one that had the signature of the silversmith. And she got out some sandpaper and she got out her tools and she started getting through the varnish and trying to figure out who was the silversmith, and then teaching me all about the hallmarks on the way they did in France, the way they did in England. And the way we left it was that essentially I could sort of remove the rest of that varnish from this cane, and maybe with a bit of luck we can see which silversmith, who knows, maybe it'd be one of the famous ones. But in short, it turned out to be a real treat, a real nice fine ebony macassar silver ring from 1920, 1930s French Art Deco, and a really nice souvenir for me to have to remember this unusual little week of my life, moving to a new apartment and seemingly becoming interested in antiques and canes. Now, I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, Oliver, you're suddenly rich with 200 euros worth of old canes. What about Emma? Are you going to look after Emma? Well, I put it to her. I said, Emma, what percentage of the profits should I send you? Here's what she said.
Oh my goodness, that's so interesting. So to my untrained eye, I would have thought maybe the dog cane would be worth the most, as it looked so detailed and different. But just goes to show, I'll leave the valuations to the experts. But that's really, really fascinating. Not enough to retire on, but very cool.
Thank you, Emma. It's lovely to have listeners in Northern Ireland, as it is to have listeners all around the world. This was rather a different episode of the Eiffel Tower. Thank you for listening to it. If you find anything interesting in a bin, give me a call. If you're like a lot of the other listeners out there, you found canes in your father or grandfather or whatever, you found some home, give it a little twist and see what might come out. Otherwise, keep searching. Always look. You never know what you're going to find in Paris and in the world when it comes to antiques and when it comes to everything else. That's the way I live life, and it certainly is an enjoyable way to do it. I want to send a big thank you out to the Patreon supporters of this show, patreon.com/the Eiffel Tower. Be sure to sign up. We've really got a great community, people, especially on the Facebook group. People are posting several posts a day with questions about their trip, things they found, recommendations, music, that kind of thing. Be sure to check it out, and I'm always updating my guides and my tips, and I'm sharing them with you guys. Soon there'll be a video with Lena and I live walking down Rue Claire, doing a sort of reprisal of that farewell to show you around, to show you our neighborhood. In the future, you'll be hearing from us soon in the arrondissement. We'll be sharing new stories, new adventures, and new hauls from the rubbish bins. Who knows if anything will ever be as exciting as what you can find in the 7th arrondissement bins, but as they say, one man's trash is another man's treasure. And it has been a pleasure to have you guys listening to this episode. I'll be back again with more from Paris. My name's Oliver G. This is the Eiffel Tower, and here comes some more music from Press Maxim. Merci beaucoup, and au revoir.